Hello and welcome to my channel Simple Science. In this video we are going to see calorimetry part 2. For first part you can check the link in the description box or it will also be provided in the end of the video. So let us start. Today we'll do the principle of calorimetry. Now before going on to the principle of calorimetry, you should know what is a calorimeter. Calorimeter is nothing but a simple copper vessel, a cylindrical copper vessel, which is enclosed in a wooden box. And the empty space in the wooden box is filled with cotton or wool or any insulating material. Now, water is filled in the calorimeter or the copper box or the copper cylinder, and there is a stirrer to constantly stir the mixture. Now initially the mass of the empty calorimeter, that means empty copper vessel, is taken. Now after filling it with water, again its mass is taken and then mass of water is found by subtracting the mass of the calorimeter. Now there is a thermometer also inserted in the calorimeter and the initial temperature of water is measured using the thermometer and is noted down. Now the initial temperature of the copper vessel will also be same as the temperature of water. Now take an object metal and put it in the calorimeter. Now you have to close the lid. It is a completely isolated system. Isolated system means there is no loss of heat or there is no exchange of heat with the surrounding. But there is no isolated system possible. There will be some loss of heat in the surrounding, but still we will focus on isolated system, or we will assume that there is no loss of heat. Now what is done? The mixture is constantly stirred using the stirrer, and we have to wait until the temperature reaches a constant value. The hot body, the sphere, will lose its heat and water will gain heat. So they will reach a constant temperature. And when there is no rise in temperature, that means that is the final temperature and we have to measure that final temperature. Now what happens here? Heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body, and this is the principle of calorimetry. In an isolated system, or we can also say when there is no loss of heat in the surrounding, the heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body. This is nothing but principle of calorimetry or principle of mixtures. Now that means heat lost by the solid is equal to heat gained by water. Here we are not considering the copper vessel. We will consider copper vessel later. Now here we are assuming that the heat exchange is only between the metal and the water, or the solid body and the water. Now let us note down the details of the hot body, that is the solid body. Let M1 be the mass of the hot body, C1 be the specific heat capacity of the hot body, T1 be the initial temperature of the hot body, and delta T1 is nothing but the change in temperature. The hot body will lose its temperature. So what is its change in temperature? Final temperature is suppose T. So T1 will be, delta T1 will be T1 minus T. Suppose the initial temperature of the hot body is 80 degrees Celsius and the final temperature of the mixture is 50 degrees Celsius. So the change in temperature will be 80 minus 50. Now note down the details of the cold body also. Let mass of the cold body, that is nothing but water, is M2, and C2 is the specific heat capacity of the water. T2 is the initial temperature of water which we had measured, and the final change in temperature of water will be delta T2. That will be equal to T minus delta T2, because here final temperature was more than the temperature of cold body. So now Q1 is the heat lost by the solid and Q2 is the heat gained by water. So Q1 is equal to Q2 according to principle of calorimetry. And you know that formula of heat Q is equal to MC delta T. So Q1 is equal to M1C1 delta T1, which is equal to M2C2 delta T2. So heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body. M1C1 delta T1 is equal to M2C2 delta. Now suppose the hot body or the solid body has, we have written down the details. Now if we consider the copper vessel also, that means the heat lost by or heat given by the solid is also taken by copper vessel. Then heat lost by the solid will be equal to heat gained by water plus heat gained by copper, because copper is also gaining heat. So if in the question mass of copper is given to you, specific heat capacity of copper is given to you, then you have to consider that there is heat gained by copper vessel also. So we will note down the details of the copper also. Let M3 be the mass of the copper, C3 be the specific heat capacity of copper, T3 is the initial temperature of copper, which will be same as initial temperature of water. And delta T3 will also be same as delta T2 because both were the cold bodies. Now, in this case, heat lost Q1 will be equal to Q2 plus Q3, where Q1 is heat lost by solid, Q2 is heat gained by water, and Q3 is heat gained by copper vessel. So that means M1C1 delta T1 is equal to M2C2 delta T2 plus M3C3 delta T3. Here M1C1 delta T1 is heat lost by solid, M2C2 delta T2 is the heat gained by water, and M3C3 delta T3 is the heat gained by copper vessel. Okay, let us take one numerical to understand the concept clearly. Now the question is, a mass of 50 gram of certain metal at 150 degrees Celsius is immersed in 100 gram of water at 11 degrees Celsius. The final temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. Calculate the specific heat capacity of the metal. Assume that the specific heat capacity of water is 4.2 joule gram power minus 1 Kelvin power minus 1. Now here what is given in this question? There is a metal which is a hot body because its temperature is 150 degrees Celsius. Mass of the metal is given. And there is another material, that is water. There is a liquid which is water, and water is at 11 degrees Celsius. So water is a cold body. So write down all the details what is given in the question. Hot body is metal. Mass is 50 gram. C1 we don't know. We have to calculate. T1 is 150 degrees Celsius and delta T1 is 130 because final temperature is 20. So 150 minus 20. Cold body, the details are, cold body is nothing but water. M2 will take cold body as second body. So M2 is 100 gram, C2 is 4.2 joule per gram per Kelvin. T2 is 11 degrees Celsius. So the change in temperature is 9 degrees Celsius because final temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. Now according to the principle of calorimetry, heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body. So that means M1C1 delta T1 is equal to M2C2 delta T2. Now substitute the values of M1, C1 which we don't know, and delta T1. Similarly on the right hand side, M2, substitute the values of M2 which is 100 gram, C2 4.2 and delta T2 9. And do the calculation. You will get the value of C1 which is equal to 0.582 joule gram power minus 1 Kelvin power minus 1, which is the unit of specific heat capacity. So this is how it is, very simple. You just have to substitute correct values in the correct formula. Then you do the calculation and it will be fine. We'll take one more numerical. Take 200 gram of hot water at 80 degrees Celsius. Hot water at 80 degrees Celsius is added to 300 gram of cold water at 10 degrees Celsius. Now both the substances are water only, so their specific heat capacity will be same. But 200 gram of hot water, it is hot body which is at 80 degrees Celsius, and 300 gram of water is cold water which is at 10 degrees Celsius. Neglecting the heat taken by the container, that means we are not assuming the heat taken by the copper vessel. Calculate the final temperature of the mixture. The specific heat capacity of water is 4200 joule per kg per Kelvin. Here the specific heat capacity is given in kg, but you know the value in gram also, 4.2. So we'll take that value because the other values, mass is given in gram and specific heat capacity is given in kilogram. So we'll convert that. Now write down all the details. Hot body, that is nothing but water. Mass is 200 gram. C1 you know, 4.2. T1 is 80 degrees Celsius. So delta T1 will be 80 minus T, where T is the final temperature. Cold body is also water. Mass is 300 gram. C2 is same because it is water. T2 is 10 degrees Celsius, so final delta T2 will be T minus 10 because final temperature of cold body will be more. Final temperature we have to calculate. Now substitute this in the formula or principle of calorimetry, which says heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body. That means M1C1 delta T1 is equal to M2C2 delta T2. And we know all the values, we have to substitute these values. So now we know the details, what is given in the question. We just have to substitute these details in the formula. So M1 200 gram into C1 4.2 into delta T1 80 minus T, which is equal to 300, M2 300, C2 4.2 and T2 delta T2 is T minus 10. Now this 0 0, that means 200, and this 300 will cancel by the 100. 100 2s are 200, 100 3s are 300, or 0 0 gets cancelled. 4.2 and 4.2 will also get cancelled. So what is remaining here? 2 into 80 minus T, and on the right hand side 3 into T minus 10. Now open the bracket, rearrange the terms, take T terms on one side and numbers or constants on the other side. You will get 190 is equal to 5T, that means T is equal to, or the final temperature is equal to 38 degrees Celsius. For first step or for this step you will get 1 plus 1 mark. 1 mark for the left hand side, 1 mark for the right hand side, and correct substitution. Then only you will get 1 plus 1. 2 marks here and 1 mark for the answer, and this 1 mark for the answer you will get only if your first step is correct. Otherwise you will not get marks for the answer. I hope you have understood this numerical. If you have not understood, please pause the video and go through it again. Now we'll take one more numerical, and this is your homework numerical. You have to do it yourself, but still I will explain, but in a very fast manner. And you go through it, pause the video and solve it yourself and check the answer from the video. 45 gram of water at 50 degrees Celsius in a beaker is cooled when 50 gram of copper at 18 degrees Celsius is added to it. The contents are then stirred till a final constant temperature is reached. Calculate the final temperature. The specific heat capacity of copper is 0.39 joule per gram Kelvin, and the that of water is 4.2 joule gram power minus 1 Kelvin power minus 1. Here one body is water and the other body is copper vessel. Sorry, not copper vessel, copper metal. But the mass of calorimeter, that is copper cylinder, is not considered. Now let us write down the details of hot body and the cold body. Hot body is water. Water is at 50 degrees Celsius and copper is at 18 degrees Celsius. So that is cold body. So we have written all the details of both the bodies. Final temperature delta T1 is 50 minus T and delta T2 is T minus 18. Final temperature we have to calculate. So like what we did in the previous question, in the same way, heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body. So M1C1 delta T1 is equal to M2C2 delta T2. We just have to substitute the values and we do the calculation. So we just have to substitute the values and do the calculation. Substitute these values in the formula. 45 into 4.2 into 50 minus T is equal to 50, which is the mass of the cold body, into 0.39 into T minus 18. Now 45 and 50 we will cancel. 5 9s are 45, 5 10s are 50, and then multiply 9 into 4.2, which is 37.8 into 50 minus 10. And on the right hand side, 10 into 0.39 is 3.9 into 10 T minus 18. And then open the bracket, rearrange the terms and take T values on one side and the constants on the other side and do the calculation. You will get your answer, T as 47 degrees Celsius. Do the calculations yourself and check it. This is your homework question. And if you have any doubt, check it from the video. For the first step, you will get 1 plus 1, 2 marks, and for the answer 1 mark. So if your first step is correct, you will get 2 marks there itself, and if your answer is correct, then you will get 1 more marks for the answer. But if your first step is wrong, you will not get marks for correct answer. Somehow if you get the correct answer, still you will not get marks for that. Okay, so I hope I am clear. I hope you all have understood. So I hope you have enjoyed learning and understood the principle of calorimetry and how to do the numericals based on principle of calorimetry. Thank you so much. I'll get back to you with some more numericals. I'll make one video based on numericals only, numericals of calorimetry. And I'll make one more video on numericals based on heat capacity and specific heat capacity. So keep watching. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Take care.